Hello friends, welcome in today's session. Today I am going to discuss the migrations technique from Oracle to Amazon Redshift. So you know that overview. The normally will use the SCT tool. This is a schema conversion tools for source database to copy or convert the metadata. That means the table structures and the object structure levels to the destination database, and or either we can use some kind of native tools, like we can use some ora2bg tools for some kind of heterogeneous conversion. Sometimes we use SQL developers or some kind of native tool for same Oracle to Oracle or SQL Server to SQL Server, this kind of conversions. And thereafter we use DMS, that is data migration service, to move your data. Now, there is something special for Redshift or any kind of data warehouse. Since the data amount is huge with compared to the WebDB, Amazon provides us something called SCT or SCT extraction tools. That means along with the SCT, when you are copy or converting your schema objects, you can directly copy your data from your source database to the destination database. So I find it is quite convincing because first of all, I don't have to go for the DMS and do all this kind of settings, create IAM roles and all this stuffs. And where in a single window, I can do all of the stuffs. I can monitor my tasks well. So it's really convincing to me, and I'm gonna show you how to use this SCT extraction tool to copy the data from Oracle to Amazon Redshift. So let's just begin. Well, this is the main SCT workflow for data warehouse. As you can see that this is our data warehouse source. So in for my case, this is Oracle, and then we are going to use this SCT schema conversion tool for entire operations. We are going to use so normal flow. It is something, there will be some kind of agents, okay, and then through the agents we are going to copy the data at the beginning to the S3 bucket, and then S3 bucket we are copy to the Redshift. For doing all this thing, there will be this total transfer of the data can be done in the SSL mode. So we are going to create some trust and keys into the stores, and we are going to create some agent something what Amazon says agent should be nearer to your data warehouse. Ideally you should not create in the local instance. Maybe you can create in a EC2 machine or some kind of instance. Sake of this training, I am going to choose two instances. One I will be creating in my own instance in my Windows box. Another one I am going to create on a Red Hat Linux machine. The purpose of using multiple agents to speed up the process. So when your data amount is quite high, you can use multiple agents and register them as well. So the next steps, you have to create a S3 bucket, and you have to have arrange some permissions on it so that you can copy the data into the S3 bucket. This is something interim things. So before copying into the Redshifts, the agent first copy into the S3 bucket, and there is something called AWS service profile on that. So in the SCT tool, uh, you have to put your credential. That credential means secret access key and S3 bucket details in the SCT tool itself. And the last steps, it will going to be copied to the Redshift. Okay. Hello guys. We will be needing following softwares to be downloaded for this exercise. We'll be needing these SCT tools, then the Oracle driver and the Redshift driver. Let me tell you something about the SCT tool downloading. So you can download from this Amazon sites, and you can see that uh, there is something. There are separate links are provided for the downloader. So like for Windows, Mac, Linux, and Fedora. For Okay, the current download build version is 632, and the previous one is 607. So I had one issue before that, for my prior migrations, I only use this SCT, not use the XCT extractions. So my SCT tool 607 already downloaded. Now the when I try to download this XCT tool extraction for 632, there was a mismatch, and it was saying that the both the SCT tool conversion tool and the extract agent version should be same. So mine did. The another thing is that for due to any reason, I find it, this kind of websites are not, this is something you cannot download from there. So there is some access denied rule. I don't know why. So for the safer side, you download from the 632 build versions. The one constants about the 632 build, this is the newly build, that it only supports Oracle source database from 12.2. So from 12.1 onwards, I try to use this build for 12.1, at least for 12.1 JDBC. It says is only support for the 12.2. So this is also an one catch. Well, we also, I'm just going to show you one notepad where I have listed this the locations of the software downloaded. Normally, this is the SCT tool loader. You can go there and you can install from there. SQL Workbench won't be required for this exercise. You can use SQL Workbench, or I have used the SQL Developer, so it's your choice. This is something you can this is the Oracle side. You can download the JDBC driver. This is the Amazon side. You can download this Redshift driver, and this is the Amazon sites. Again, I use for this project for loading one sample SH schema. So it's having this few tables, table partitions, lots of rows and all these things. So this is, you can use this for your exercise if you want to replicate at your end. So let's proceed to the next step. Okay. At the as a first step, I'm going to create two databases. One is Oracle RDS. I'm going to load some sample objects as I show in my previous steps, and I'm also going to create my targets Redshift cluster. So let's begin. So I'll go to the RDS, create database. Well, here you can see that I have used VPC, and I have used one VPC security groups. So as because I've already having some incoming rules also set up for their enabling this port 1521. The next steps, I'm going to create a Redshift. Okay. One thing I'm just telling you that if you want to choose the non-default connections like network connections, like choose your own VPC, your own subnets, and the security groups, you have to, before creating the Redshift clusters, you have to create something called subnet groups. So I'll just create a subnet group for me. Okay, let's put as a Redshift. Okay, I already have another subnet groups, but just for showing that I have created another one. So now I'm going to create a Redshift cluster. Create cluster. I'll choose as DC too large. This is less costly. One node is sufficient. Here, this is, you can see that I'll be going to use a non-default. Well, looks like my database is now available. So this is my Oracle database RDS instance. Yeah, and let me check the status of Redshift. Okay, that is also available. Now I am going to connect to the Oracle database and run the sample schema. Well, this is SQL developer, and I have taken the details from the RDS. So I'm going to connect. So I already tested it is success. I'm going to connect now. Okay. Let me run the schema. This is a sample schema. I took it from Amazon site. So I'll run the script. So our schema objects is already loaded into the source Oracle database. So now we are going to do this, our next steps. So in these steps, we'll be doing this, the starting of our schema conversion tool steps. So it's having the multiple sub steps in it. First, if I can go back here in the my workflow data warehouse document. So this is the entire steps we are going to perform in the SCT tool. So at the first, I'll be creating this trust and key stores. Then I'll be installing the agents. Then I'll be doing some kind of AWS service profiles, and also I'll show you that what are the options you are having when you are converting the database, what kind of strategies you can take. Okay, so first we are going to do this, create and trust and key stores. So I have already opened my an AWS schema conversion tool. So for trust and key stores, I have to go to the settings, global setting, go to security, and then this is something we have to use the trust and key stores. I'm going to generate on trust and key stores. Say let me store the allowed by trust. Generate, apply. Now I already I need to, as I said, I'm going to install my agents on the two machines. One I'll be installing my this Windows machines, and I'm going to install another one for my EC2 Linux machine. We are going to install the SCT Extractor agent on our EC2 machine. This looks like we need to install some GRE. Just wait for the dependencies. Okay. It's done. Let's now try to configure the agent. Check my path, the files. Okay. Working folder, this should be good. Yes. I've already copied my key store file here. Key store folder. I have to give the full path. Let me see the file. Okay, it's successfully configured. Now we already create the trust and key stores. We already configure, launch the EC2 instance, install the agents. Now we are the next steps. We are going to install the agents on the local Windows machine. Now I'm going to install the Extractor agent on my Microsoft Windows box. Yeah, please note that we have to use the SSL. So my SCT data extractor agent setup wizard is completed on my Windows box. In these steps, I'm going to log into the AWS schema conversion tool and perform the rest of the steps there. So at first, I'll create a new project. Okay, this for data warehouse. Source is Oracle DW and target engine is Redshift. That's okay. Now I need to connect to both the source and target. Now the connection is successful. Let's connect to the Amazon Redshift. Successful. Okay. The next steps we are going to create. We are going to show you that the S3 bucket and update the AWS service profile. Now, at first, we'll create this AWS service profile. This is for required for S3. So go to the global settings. Then AWS service profile. I already have a service profile. Just I will show you how to create this one. You have to give a profile name. Then you have to copy your access key and secret key and the region you want to create. Like I have created in US East 1. Then the S3 bucket. I have already created the S3 bucket for myself. And once you have created everything, you can go for the test Well, now just I realize that I have not started the SCT Extractor in Linux, so I have to start it. There is a lot of way you can start it, but I try to start on this way. Okay, so you can also check from using netstat whether it's starting in the port 8192. Yeah, it started in the 8192. So let me go back. Okay, use SSL test connection. The another thing is that on this particular EC2 machine, I have also provided this inbound connections. So in the security groups, so connection is successful register. Now I'll go for another one register, that is my local host, say Windows agent, and host is localhost, port is 8192, use SSL. Windows, the good thing is that it is automatically started. Okay, register. So as I said before, it depends on your load. You can have multiple agents. Just for sake of this video, I have created the two agents. One is Linux, one is Windows, but you can have multiple in Mac, in Ubuntu. Okay, so now what I'm going to do that as a normal SCT tools for conversions, I'll say only you can do it for the multiple schema, but here I'll be only doing for SH schema. So what I am going to do that at the beginning, what I am going to do, I'll collect statistics. SCT schemas take the statistics, and from the source side, and using the statistics, you'll do all this kind of assessment. What will be the rules, what will be the performance strategy. So we have to first take the collect statistics. You can also upload statistics if you have something statistics to be uploaded, but for me, I'll be going to collect the statistics. So this part, what is I am after that I am going to create an assessment report, and we'll review the report, that what will be the conditions once the data will be converted to the in targets. So we'll review together, and we'll see that what are the optimization strategies we can look, and what are the things we can check. So statistics is done. Now I'm going to create a report. Okay, you can see that my report is already prepared. There is something with complex errors. Okay, and we have to see the action items. You can definitely save the report in the PDF or the CSV. So we'll go for the action items. Okay, these are the things is going to happen, that partitions create good option for the distributed key and the short keys, because in Redshift. So most of the performance things you are getting either from the distributed key or the short key columns. So you have to either you can take the opinions of the SCT tools, or you can, if you are very much confident about the having your distributed key on the short key columns, and based on the query you can have your own distributed and short key. So if you can see these things, okay, now we are going to see that what are the recommendations for here. So when you are sure that everything, the points they have taken, you are sure about this thing, that you are okay with all these things, so you can go to the next steps, that is convert your schema. Now you can see that I am in the current project settings in the optimization strategies. This is the optimization strategies. This is the SCT Tool given optimization strategies based on the current statistics. So there is it's always better to at the beginning to accept the default. That is something like use metadata, ignore statistical informations, ignore metadata, use statistical informations, and use metadata and use statistical information. So the third option is the default options, and always better that you accept the default strategy. Well, after the schema conversion, if you can if I'll choose a one table, if I'll choose the table's channels, and the upper portion is the source and the lower portion is the target. If I'll go for the SQL, you can see that this is the SQL for create table DDL4, and this is the DDL4 in the Redshift. So there is a difference, is that in the source DDL it was using some kind of constants, but Redshift doesn't use any kind of constant itself, and in place of constant it used something called distributed key and short key. So here it is using the channel ID as a short key. So most of the times you will see that the primary key often used in the short key level. So if I'll go for a key management here, this portion is very interesting. It's all based on the that stable statistics. So there is the suggestions. The higher the suggestions, the higher the confidence. It's normally taken by the SCT, their suggestions. So it is always the nice. You can believe the SCT suggestions and go by that. Otherwise, you can customize yourself if you are very much confident, and based on your experience or the best of the query patterns in the target database, you can select the short key column based on this arrow. But I am not going to do that. If I can see another one table, say is for customers. The customers, this is the customer things, and this is the SQL. So here also using the customer SC as the constants, and here the short key also okay, but here it's using that the 4 columns as a short key. So if you go for the key management things, things little bit tricky here, because there are a lot of suggestions there, and this is the 22.83%. This is also the same things, but SCT has taken the suggestion number 1. This is the best suggestions. So if you want to customize the things, you can do that using this customization, the short key columns and the available columns. Okay, let's see about the sales table. This is a partition table. So for the sales tables, you can see there are a lot of suggestions, but it go for the higher level of confidence. We can also change the short key columns if we want. There is a very interesting things about how SCT converts the partition tables from source to destinations. Now we have already converted the things. For if I check this sales table, we can see that there is only one column, only one table here. But there is an option. If I'll go to the settings and if I'll go to the project settings, and so the conversion strategy, the conversion settings, there is something called use union all view. So what it's doing that, it's doing that transform a partition source table into individual target tables, one for each partition, and replace the table definition with a union all view. That means there are a number of partitions is there for the sales table. So if I choose this particular options, then there will be a separate table for each partitions. So let me see that how it look like. Apply. Okay. So what I have to do that, since I have changed something, I have to reconvert the schema. Now you can see the difference. Initially it was something around one table, and now it is all the partition wise table has come. Okay. So this is something you have to look into it. Now everything looks fine. The next things what I am gonna do, I will not from here. What I'll do here, I'll choose these things and I will apply to database. Okay, you can just one thing I just want to show you. If you can also save in SQL. Save in SQL sometimes required that you can save in the SQL. You just check it thoroughly what are the changes is going to happen, and once you are confident you can only apply to database. But for us it's okay, so I am applying to database. So it's loading the metadata, not the actual data. Okay, it's done. Now we have to start the extraction process. To do that, we know that we got 5 tables, so we have to create a local task to start the extraction process. So you can see that our task name is, I can put as task number 1. There is something, the 3 mode is there. One is extract. Extract means it will only extract and it will not do anything. The second option is extract and upload. That means it will extract and upload into a S3 bucket that the cloud by bucket we have created. And the third mode is extract, upload, and from upload it will also copy to the target S3 database. That only we want. Okay, and these are the things, if I'll go for the advanced things, we can put, this is something you can check, this is optional, but I like to always want to do that, to check if something errors happens. So keep the files locally after upload to the S3, but we have to manually delete these things once it is done. And I don't have any folders and all these things, so these are fine. So I'll create. Okay, now I'm going to start these things. So extract process, it will do the extract, upload, and copy. You can monitor the progress. You can see the progress is happening. It's currently extracting. Now it is upload is happening, and now the copy is happening. So our it's called extraction process is completed. So if you want, you can see the downloaded logs. This is the location where it is log is saved. So in the next phase, I'm going to check the table data, and then the rest of the post migration steps I'm going to follow. Now I'm going to log into the query editor of my target database, Redshift. Go to the query editor. Okay. It's connected. So I'll go to the SH schema. So these are my tables has come. So if I'll see some of the tables data, see this is the schema, and see the preview data. So data also arrived. So if I'll change the table to one sales table, sales, this is the partitions. You can see the partitions tables data is also arrived successfully after the migrations. So we already done. We already checked this. Now there are some other post migration steps you can do that, like you have to unregister the SCT agents. Like if you remember that we have created the two agents and we registered them. So you have to unregister them from the SCT tools. Otherwise, you cannot use the agent for the other migrations. And you can delete the EC2 instance definitely, because this was required for hosting one EC2 for Extractor agent. So if it's not needed, you just going to delete it. And if you are based on your situation, if you think that your source database, the Oracle database which you used, also could be deleted. Now, these are the streams, these are the things is based on your environment. Like, I am not going to delete this source database because I maybe use it for some other purpose. But if you feel, if you can do that. So I believe today you got a very good glimpse about how we can do the migrations from data warehouse Oracle to Amazon Redshift using the SCT extraction tool. Um, and you can see the other features, like what are the how you can install the agents, how we can configure that, the S3 bucket and the service profile, how we can create that, we can convert the schema, and how we can do some kind of, we can check the optimization strategy in both Oracle and for Redshift, particularly how we can use the distribution key and the short keys. And then once the we converted the schemas into the Redshift, we can do the how we can create the extraction tasks, and how we can start the job tasks, and we can, data should be extracted, and we can also monitor the extraction jobs. So once the extraction is completed, we can check the details in the target schema. So hopefully you understood the basics here, and you can create yourselves, and you can try at your side. So thank you for watching these things. Goodbye.